So you're spinning away and your single breaks. And your fibers are stubborn and slippery and they don't really want to reattach. Now, I'm going to show you two different ways to do this. First of all, you can simply fluff out the end of the part that broke off and fluff out the end of the other part that's on the wheel. Untwist the last 5 or 6 inches so that you could draft it. Just above where you've pinched, put your fluffy tip and pull it down as you're spinning until it attaches. And then add the twist. I'm going to spin a little bit and then I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to show you the other way if you don't feel like saving the yarn that you've spun. Let's just say you've got about 2 or 3 yards of yarn before it broke. So here I'm gonna do that. There we go. Perfect. Pull out some more yarn here from the bobbin. Break off wherever it seems likely to give you a fluffy bit. Untwist several inches. If you need to, pull some more yarn out of the bobbin. And then here I've got a whole lot, but I don't feel like fooling with it, so I just pulled it out and I've got a fluffy tip on my fiber. And I'm going to lay that behind the pinch towards me. Let's say this is the front because it's the wheel side. I don't know, I'm being weird. Below your pinch, and manually feed some twist in there as you draft back. That method works for any type of join, so you don't have to break it if you want to practice this. Keep the twist above your fingers. Put the fluffy bit, just a tiny, tiny piece of fiber in there. Start treadling and slowly twist with your fingers. Manually put the twist in there and then keep drafting. That is probably my favorite way to do a stubborn join. To show you that again. Notice I've got almost the length of my hand. It's not real critical, but the more slippery your fibers are, the more space you want where you can get it to attach. So I pulled out just a few fibers. Allow it to twist in, pull back a little, twist. When you pull back, you'll be able to tell if the fiber is sticking because it'll draft versus pull away from your fingers. I hope that makes sense. Let me show you a typical worsted join is where you attach as you're spinning. It works too, but you do need a fluffy end. Otherwise, you're going to end up with the tail end just sliding up your yarn, and it's going to create a very insecure joint. Now I've got too much twist in here. There we go. So just a few fibers, again, several inches away from the tip. Begin twisting, and as the fibers start to grab, go up, go down, and you'll be able to tell if it attaches because The fibers, when you pull back, will begin to pull out of your hand, your fiber hand, instead of pulling away from your drafting hand. Last time on that one. Up, down. That's right here is where it attached good and solid. When I'm spinning silk, I tend to give myself a good foot or more to attach. Now, if you want to do a more woolen style join, this can be done with much less. It's similar to how I do the broken join that I showed you first, but it doesn't require quite as much of a tip. So you've got that little bit of fluff. And you just lay it on top of your fiber supply and draft away. Another join is to lay it on top. I'm not very good at this one. I don't care for it all that much. To me, it grabs a little bit too much fiber, so it's a little fiddly. That is more of a woolen style join. Again, worsted style. And you want to make sure the little fluffs of fiber are attaching to the yarn before you really get carried away with drafting back or feeding in very gradually underneath or on top, which doesn't matter, but I just find it a little bit easier to do from underneath so I can see the fluff from the single. But it really doesn't matter that much. If you're having trouble with joins that don't want to work, don't want to hold, give yourself more space to create that join. Silk, I would do this, and I would start way back here, trying to attach in the worsted join, and then hoping that this will firmly attach, smoothly attach at the end. It's trial and error. So for silk, I would do this. And it might take all the way down here before it grabs. And you're good to go. So that's how I deal with very stubborn joins and fibers that want to continuously break. Alright, so let's troubleshoot aggressive take up. This is a Babe production wheel, and the Babe wheels are bobbin led, which means that the drive band goes around the bobbin. And there's a brake for the flyer. And these are very aggressive take ups. So the easiest, the lightest take up is going to be double drive, but I have a hack. One of those things. So if your yarn is constantly breaking while you're spinning, it could be that your take up is too strong, or it could be that you're not putting enough twist in your bobbin in your yarn, which means either speed up your treadling, slow down your drafting, or switch to a smaller whorl. Now I typically only use the lace whorl, which is way back here, and this is the standard bobbin that does not come with the lace whorl, so I created one with some hot glue. If right around the edge of that. So I wouldn't recommend it most of the time. If you can, get lace bobbins if that's what you need. This hack is not perfect. It makes the drive band rattle as I'm spinning, and it causes the bobbin to rattle a good bit. So to lighten aggressive take-up, what I do is I typically start on the back hook. I start loading my bobbin from the back, and I'm going to cross thread twice, which you can do more than that, but for this particular wheel it works pretty well. So my loading hook is way back here, and I bring the thread up to the front hook, across to the other front hook, and across these hooks that go in front of the bobbin. And then it lightens the take-up enough so that I can get a thin yarn without it constantly breaking. And when I want to change hooks, now on this flyer the hooks are staggered, so if I want to fill up the bobbin evenly, I need to start at this hook, go to this one, then this one, then this one. But when you've cross-threaded, that's an awful lot of time to change hooks. So I skip hooks. I just do one side as I'm going up, and it leaves spaces, but that's okay because we're going to go back and fill them in. And I only put a little bit of yarn in each of the spaces. When I am done with one side, I come up here and I load that front hook back to front, across the same direction, back to front. So I'm now reloaded for cross-threaded, so I can then go down this side of the flyer. And that's pretty easy. I just move it to the next hook, move it down, move it down, move it down. So that's how I lighten the take-up on my wheel. If you need an even more aggressive see, that's 3 times I've crossed here, here, and here, and that makes it much easier on the take-up, much less extreme, but it also gives you more space as the yarn goes around each hook. That is a tension spot that could cause a weak spot in your yarn to break. So, which is why I prefer to only cross thread twice. And I'm putting it back where I need it to continue spinning. So that is my advice on, or my solution to an aggressive take-up, constantly breaking the yarn. The other thing you want to think about is how you're drafting. So if you're finding that you're just drafting away and your yarn keeps having weak spots, it could be that you're drafting too far. You want the fibers to overlap, not like this, but like you want them staggered. You want to stagger your fibers, and sometimes that means a very short draft, even when you have fairly long fibers. Say your fiber is 4 inches long on average. Sometimes you're going to want to do a 1-inch draft in order to keep your singles strong. Also, the whorl you've got set up makes a big difference. On my pinky, it's 11 3/4 to 1 ratio, which means the drive band turns once, the bobbin turns 11, almost 12 times. And if you're doing 1 treadle per inch, that is just slightly less than 12 twists per inch. This is the production wheel, and it gives me about double, about 22 twists per treadle. So if I need more than that, I've got to treadle a little faster. If I need less than that, I've got to draft faster or slow my treadling down. That's just a little thing to think about. Some people get too much twist in their yarn and don't really know what to do about it. If you're a very fast treadler and you move your hands very slowly, or one or the other, you may want to change to a larger whorl, which for this particular bobbin would mean putting my drive band up here instead of way back here. Now, I'm not sure, I think the ratio is 8-to-1 on this, so I would have to treadle really fast. Now I'm going to show you. So I've got it at the 8-to-1 or so, and if I've got that wrong, I will just write that in here. So here I am treadling away, and I have to treadle really fast and draft really slow so I can get, I'm going to get a workout here. This is a, cardio. Now, I don't know if you can see how fast I'm treadling, but this is real life speed, not sped up, not changed. Okay. So let's go back to the smaller whorl and see my treadling has slowed down significantly, which makes making yarn so much easier on my body, my knees and my hips especially. So those are just some tips to think about when you are spinning, if you're having any issues with twist, with your yarn breaking, the joins, all of that. If you have any questions, please ask them. Feel free. I will answer any question you've got. And if there's a particular technique or something that you want to see a close-up video, I will be more than happy to film a special video to meet your request. That's what this video is. It's a request on slippery fiber joins, especially with sweaty hands. And here's the thing. My hands are always extremely sweaty, so I totally get it. So this video is in response to a question about slippery joins. And I thought I would cover just a few other troubleshooting things while I'm at it. And then maybe that'll give you some food for thought and you can come back with more questions for me. If you like premiering this video, please let me know, and I will do premieres with live chat on these special request videos from here on out. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, go find Fairly Fiber Fun on Facebook group. Go give it the page a like. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe so that you don't miss any of the awesomeness going on here. And I am on Instagram, and I have a Fiber Crafty shop. It's a alternative to Etsy. I used to have an Etsy shop, not anymore. So if you want to buy any of my fibers, any of my bats that I make, or hand-dyed yarn, anything like that, you can find them in my Fiber Crafty shop. Thank you so much for watching, hanging out with me, and I hope you enjoyed today's premiere, and I will see you again soon. Bye, guys.